Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over a bunch of Gems of War team for the Big Yellow Fellow event week. So we're going to be going over everything from World events all the way to the Weekend Vault event teams. So let's start all the way from the World event. This is specifically a Divine restriction. We're going to be able to have magic additional damage, so one really easy way to clear everything out is just simply cast Gaard's Avatar and just have a mana accumulation team built around it. In this case, we have Mercy to feed directly with yellow, Divine Protector to give a bunch of both red and yellow, both of which it needs, and Archdeva, if it happens to get mana, to also be able to go for a second Guard's Avatar cast in case we need to double cast them. Get a bunch of yellow, you just go cast Guard's Avatar, use Archdeva onto Guard's Avatar, and then cast Guard's Avatar again. And we just get a bunch of damage that way, and it should be able to take out the entirety of the Ward event. For the lower range, there's a few other things you can end up running. Angry Mob, really good mana accumulator for the lower range. If you happen to have it, you can Holy Sting Astra to get a bunch of humans with 50% mana start, quite a few in the area. However, one thing that you can end up doing if you really want to is just spam a billion gargoyles. You can go any amount of gargoyles you really want. In this particular instance, we're only running one, but you can run 2, 3. I wouldn't advise 4, you need at least one mana accumulator, of course. But go at least like 2 or 3 of them if you want, or simply just go for a higher amount of mana accumulation here. We're using Guardian Hammer as our mana accumulator. However, you of course can use any weapon from Whitehelm as your option depending on what you have if you don't want to get any of the ones that are specifically in Soulforge this week. As far as for the faction, this is all the teams for the faction that we're having this Tuesday for the Hall of Guardians event. This first one that we have here is a pretty standard Guard's Avatar team, Guard's Avatar Sir Hadley combo that gives them 50% mana start so we can go a little bit quicker. Of course, Guard's Avatar in the event key drop table this week as well, and if you get super lucky, you could technically get it from the World event, as is one of the things in the drop table. Very unlikely getting it that way, though more realistically, you can get it in event keys this week, which is probably your way to do it. Aside from that, for the higher level range, you could pretty much just go any kind of High King Iron Gut team. Of course, despite brown-yellow restriction, you are allowed to use any colored weapon in the Underworld, so you can use Essence of Evil to get rid of anything that has immune to Devour, and then simply kill everything out with the High King Iron Gut's Devour then, and just surround it with mana accumulators. For the Pure faction is what we end up running. It was actually one of the only few Pure factions we ever did potionless back when that was possible, because now, of course, technically almost every run is now a potioned run. For the Underworld, since you can end up getting them without needing the event to be around simply by leveling up your Horde level. However, this particular one runs Silent Sentinel as your tank. The main goal when you're doing this Pure faction is to kill their second slot. Their second slot is their own Gargoyle, and basically what you're trying to do here is tank up, get a bunch of attack if you want off of your Ethereal Sentry onto your Silent Sentinel, and basically kill out their Silent Sentinel and then land silence on their Gargoyle. Is mainly what you're trying to do. Once their Gargoyle is silenced, you basically just win, because then you can use your own Gargoyles to attack their Gargoyles, and once you have neutralized the enemy's Gargoyle, it's pretty much just auto-win from there. The only thing they have are Skull Pokes, so if you just make sure they never take Skulls, once their Gargoyle is dead, they have nothing they can do. The biggest issue is getting the Gargoyle dead and or silenced, as that is the main priority, where you can either go all in on their Silent Sentinel, so that you can then get a silence on with your Silent Sentinel, assuming it has survived up until then. So you could do like attacking as a Gargoyle spam, or you can simply go down, just Gargoyle spam the second slot, and just hope you can get enough Gargoyles down before their Gargoyle kills your team out. So either of those two strategies are the way that you can end up going about the Pure faction there on level 500. Next we have the Priest event. This is for the Priest class event on this Thursday. It's also doable for a Pure Whitehelm team if you want to end up utilizing it for the weekly mission as well, for the weekly tasks. But it's pretty much a standard run a AoE weapon into the event and just claim your 25 gems. Of course, not really worth going beyond the free gems unless you're going for leaderboard. The free 25 is not really worth spending gems on a class event. It's pretty bad value. So in this case, we're just running a yellow weapon. You can run any you want. Dawnbringer happens to be the best one if you happen to have it. Mercy with its Empower into yellow, defeated a bunch of mana turn 1, and Paladin there to give you additional yellow. We're also running a Priest to get even more yellow, and so that's pure typing, and of course the banner also on double yellow to gain even more. Next is for the task coverage, as we do need to run a double yellow banner for the Whitehelm banner, a shield, a weapon, as well as the class of Priest. So this one combines all three to get those tasks done very quickly. This is a standard quick kill Rowan team, oddly enough also with our Skia shield, since it's allowed though. For your low level range that you'll be killing at, you're not really casting that, you're just casting a Leprechaun into its Empower Explosion and immediately casting Rowan and then winning. Next we have ourselves some of the teams that we're actually going to be showing. Actually, let's go and save this for last then. There was one other thing. Okay, let's go show the weekend ones next. We'll do these three after, as these three I actually do want to go and show in gameplay. So let's skip over that. So these now are for the weekend event. This weekend we have a Vault event. Great time to be grinding. You can get a lot of Vault keys. You can get a lot of gems, gem keys, keys in general, glory, all kind of good resources this weekend. So great idea to, if you have the time, to farm on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as you'll be able to get way more loot than you're normally capable of doing. While this won't affect this current one, We also got confirmation that at soon, or not soon, but probably a couple months from now, they are also going to be adding a Dragon Knight Gnome. And while that won't be applicable for this one, nor probably the next one, a few Vault events from now, we will be able to go and utilize that for that as well. Anyways, as far as some general teams for this, Ironhawks, one of your best strategies. When you're doing Nomapaloozas, you need to make sure you're doing at least, like, the higher range of damage. You need at least 25 damage. There is a variant, of course, that does the 20 damage, which is triple Ironhawk into Dust Devil. This is really good for obtaining verses, but when you start doing actual Nomapaloozas, you need to make sure you're hitting for like 23 sometimes, 24 sometimes, and this ends up hitting for 25 by casting Sister Superior. It does 10 damage because each of the 2 Ironhawks do 5 every time you cast, and then you do 15 when you do Dust Devil because it has a natural 5, plus it counts as a cast, so you're getting both those 2 10s for a total of 25 to all enemies on turn 1 pretty much instantly. Since Sister Superior has the auto extra turn, use clicker ability, click Dust Devil, you win. It does require double Ironhawk. However, if you don't have any of the Ironhawks, you can run pretty standard Rowan. There's a Black Manticore or whatever weapon you want that doesn't block Rowan, followed by Rowan, Leprechaun, Mirage Queen with a +2 blue, +1 green. This effectively gives you +2 blue and +2 green, so that if you take a 4 times or 5 times on green or blue, you will full mana Rowan, quickly take that up, cast it out if you need Leprechaun and there's not a 4 times or 5 times green or blue on the board, and then simply click Rowan and win. Next, we have ourselves the Phoenicia team. So this is, mostly if you want a lot of trophies while doing the Gnome event. So basically, around the Explore level of 5 and 7, you can one-shot with Phoenicia, depending on your stats and what faction or what kingdom you're specifically doing. And with this, you simply just cast Phoenicia, and boom, you one-shot it. This isn't as advised, however, if you're doing this for a Palooza, you are getting slightly more of the loot, since it has like a little bit of a diminishing return, so you get a little bit more of the loot. But the main reason why people tend to do this is it gives you 2 trophies per battle, giving you effectively, I believe still to this day, the highest trophy rate in the game, since you're killing out a battle in like 20-30 seconds or so, and you're getting 2 trophies every single time you do so, which is a pretty good ratio of trophies per hour, that is for sure. So you can end up stacking up a bunch of them. Trophies don't really do much these days, but you know, if your guild's trying to get a bunch of them for a specific milestone or just for the fun of it, it is one of the better teams. I personally don't really use it too much for that particular purpose, as I prefer sticking with the quick kill teams. So the Rowan, if you need something cheaper, or any of the Ironhawk teams, or sorry, that's not the Ironhawk one, but any of the Ironhawk teams, if you're looking for something really quick to get them down. As I want to get generally more of the Vault Keys, and more of the Vault Keys is just more overall loot, rather than prioritizing the trophies, but it is something to consider if you want to go down that route. Anyways, let's go into these next 3 teams. So these next 3 teams are using some of the things that are available this week. Scorpius, which is in the Soulforge, Gaard, which is in Event Key Drop Table, and Archdeva, which is also in the Event Key Drop Table. So Scorpius, we did already have available the other week. However, I showed one of the teams with the new Scorpion with it. I didn't really show its main purpose. So of course, what Scorpius is normally used for is going to a kingdom that has minimal, or literally in this case, Nexus at this exact moment in time, does not have any immune to poison. So we can end up just running our team here. So main gimmick with Scorpius, of course, is we can end up getting a... Also, you can end up replacing with Leprechaun here if you know for sure you're in a location that doesn't have immune to poison. Like, for example, in this instance, it doesn't, so we could go for the Leprechaun there if we so choose. However, we are going to play it the other route, as this one is more replicatable in any location rather than specifically in Nexus itself. So we're going to go end up taking this. We do need a little bit of purple. I accidentally cascaded that in a way that is very unfavorable for us actually getting purple. The only slight issue here is he might deny it. Good, he did not. So basic premise with this, of course, is just how Scorpius generally runs. You double cast, double kill Scorpius, you do it again, double kill Scorpius, and it just all dies out. Main reason for this is Uriali on a single extra turn will end up giving poison to all enemies, and then from there, Scorpius just does double kill the poison, then you double kill the poison, and then boom, you get yourself a nice quick kill. The alternative to this team, of course, is if you don't have to deal with applying curse, which we don't have to here, because there's no immunity. So if you know for sure the fight that you're about to do doesn't have any immune, you simply do a Leprechaun. So you may have noticed that one battle was a little bit slower. However, if you happen to not have purple on the starting board, let's say there's no purple there, even though there is, of course, we can simply just go for the Leprechaun, get that to get us rolling, and then go from there. This will be a lot quicker. However, you still have to deal with the fact that you have to have a team that does not have immune to poison, because if they had any amount of immune to poison, we'd have to make sure we have a way to deal with that, like the other team had, where it had the curse option to negate it out. But you can run either or depending on what you're looking for. If you're doing it specifically in Nexus, you can run it this way. If you're running it pretty much in any other Explorer, you're going to want to do it with the Karandera there. You could do the other Karandera as well. The main reason I do it with normal Karandera is the difference between Karandera and Enraged Karandera if we go and click on them here, is Carandera does the curse based on every extra turn you do. There's a 50% chance, whereas this is based on per turn at a 40% chance. And while you are giving up a few turns generally when running this team, this is not as consistent. Whereas with this, you could just kind of keep taking extra turns to try to get it to trigger. So more often than not, in this situation, you do want to go with normal Carandera. You're already having to take at least one extra turn anyways in order to apply poison. And realistically, you're likely getting a few extra turns, which, depending on how it goes, would generally make normal Carandera a higher rate to curse, though not always. But whatever way you want to run it, you can. If nothing else, Carandera is cheaper than a Rage Carandera, so a little bit easier to obtain in that regard. So next, let's go for the PvP Gaard. The only problem with this is I have no clue what our PvP fight is right now. Oh, that's funny. We got a Gaard mirror. Though why on earth is his Gaard in first slot? You should never, ever, ever run Gaard in first slot. Of course, his main gimmick is that he does damage based on how much armor he has. And, well, if he's in first slot, well, his armor's going to get poked. So this is a bit of a PvP variant of a Gaard team. Generally, you don't run Gaard, catches the bull, other similar things like that in PvP-like situations. The main reason being is they don't really have a catch-up mechanic. When they fall behind, they kind of stay behind, which can be very detrimental for using them in Guild War or PvP or any similar mode where the enemy can just scale way out of control. So with this particular build, we were essentially just trying to feed its armor so that it can go absolutely crazy. In this case, we do already have full mana, so we are going to do Gaard here, which is actually kind of funny because that means we got all of our mana off of ground before anything else ended up triggering. And also, yeah, never put Gaard in first slot. He will definitely lose a lot of his value, so much so, even if he did get a caster, it wouldn't have done much. But right here, we do not have enough damage to kill. We're going to be doing 98. So as you can see, 98 is not enough to kill. However, what is enough to kill, if we could stop giving me extra turns, is if we go use Cog, this will go and double up our armor there. And now, if we go look at our number, you can see we have a 173. And 173 is enough to kill. So we go click that button, boom, dead. And that's pretty much how that runs. Beatrix was there mostly just for cleanse. You could run Truffle, you could run kind of whatever you want. It's a pretty flexible spot, but, you know, if you're in PvP, you generally need cleanse. A lot of times, Beatrix is a very popular option. Does a little bit of poke damage too. It also feeds Brown back into it if you need, while also still getting mana into itself. That's mostly here for cleanse. You can utilize it if you wish, or put something else here if you want, like more armor, more mana accumulation, though this technically is mana accumulation, or even another damage source to kind of assist with Gaard. It's a pretty flexible spot for pretty much any utility that you want to put there. Anyways, lastly here we have ourselves a Archdeva team, and my personal favorite Archdeva team, the Lord of Slaughter variant of Archdeva. So this is more of an Explore team, though you could run in PvP if you really wanted to. So let's just click on an Explore 12. Let's do Golvania, I guess. And go and use this team. So, main premise is, of course, we have the Thrall Leprechaun base, pretty common base to end up having for a lot of mana accumulation. It's just a lot of mana accumulation. There's very few things that can keep up with that kind of rate when you have access to using anything. So, generally good to utilize it. So right here, we're going to go and give ourselves a bunch of stats. Archdeva does two things. It gives full mana to whatever you target, so anything with a higher mana cost like Mythics gain a lot of benefit from it. But the other thing it does is it gives a bunch of stats, particularly everything but magic. So this is very useful for Lord of Slaughter, as he does need every single stat other than magic, which is exactly what Archdeva does. And of course, he also needs mana, as does pretty much everything. And as you can see, we just wiped the entire team. Oh no, he has score reduction, but it doesn't matter because we cascaded it and we already had our ability again. But yeah, that's pretty much what it does. It's also usable in PvP, though not as vised in PvP, but you can get away with it. It's definitely a bit more of an Explore team if you want to kind of switch things up, but it can run in PvP too. So we'll go and get our mana going. Unfortunately, we are frozen there, and unlike before, I don't have a direct cleanse. We do have cleanse off of Archdeva. It blesses and barriers a random ally, however, of course, this is inconsistent if it will actually hit what we want it to hit, and so far it has not done so. But it shouldn't be too big an issue. We just got our bless there, so now we don't have to deal with that. We didn't get the mana for the other thing. We don't have guarantee alignment here, which is something to consider. You do have to keep in mind, while he does create some brown and then converts them all, only if you directly have brown alignment are you getting guaranteed extra turn. So you do generally want to wait till they're kind of bunched up a little bit. While it's not guaranteed right here, it is very likely we'll end up hitting alignment somewheres, and we did. And from here, we could take more skulls or even go for mana accumulation here. A couple different plays, but of course, gotta go utilize that Archdeva. I know we're doing it for only 1 mana there, but gotta do it. And then we'll go get our hit again, and it just wipes out the rest of the team. And that's pretty much how that builds work. It's a lot of fun. A lot of things Archdeva can utility into. Basically anything with a super high mana cost, particularly ones that need all of their stats, except for magic, can benefit a huge amount from going down the Archdeva route. And of course, it's as well as Gaard's avatars in the event key drop table this week. Anyways, guys, I believe that's a rundown of all 14 teams I wanted to go and mention here. As per usual, all of them will be in the description below if you want to go and copy-paste any of them. best of luck with every event going on this week, and hopefully this Tuesday we'll get a patch, and then we'll probably have to go over teams for the Halloween event, as that should be starting either this week's Tuesday or next week's Tuesday. We don't currently know, though based on the amount of time before now and Halloween, I assume it's going to be this week's Tuesday, so we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, guys, any other questions, feel free to leave it below. Any other team suggestions, feel free to leave it as well for anyone who might want to go and take them. As of course, the teams we mentioned are by no means the only teams that can be run. There are plenty of other options out there as well. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful week. Goodbye, everyone.